UFC Vegas 64 took place last night, and MMA Gold News has you covered with all the results. Amanda Lemos took full advantage of her main event slot at UFC Vegas 64 by taking out a potential #1 contender to the strawweight championship. A notable power puncher, Lemos was swinging hammers at Marina Rodriguez throughout the fight, but the biggest shot came with a glancing right hand at the start of the third round. Rodriguez was immediately wobbled by the punch, and that gave Lemos the opening she needed to rush ahead with a hail of punches in succession. In the co-main event, Magny became the winningest welterweight in UFC history with a submission victory over Daniel Rodriguez. Shayilan Nuerdanbieke earned a first-round TKO of Darrick in the featherweight division. We also saw a flyweight bout where Tagir Ulanbekov sunk in a guillotine choke to get the win against Maness in the first round. And to close the main event results, in this lightweight division, Dawson extended his win streak to 11 by submitting Madsen with a rear naked choke. Sean O'Malley calls for an interim title fight against Chito Vera in March 2023. As the dust settles on his 3-round war with Peter Yan, #1 ranked bantamweight contender, Sean O'Malley has called for an interim title fight against #4 ranked Chito Vera. Following his impressive performance over TJ Dillashaw at UFC 280, champion Aljamain Sterling indicated that he'll have an extended break away from the octagon. This has opened up the potential for a temporary champion to be put in place. While discussing Aljamain Sterling's hiatus on his YouTube channel, Sean O'Malley proposed his idea to the UFC involving himself and long-term rival Vera.
Aljo cuts a lot of weight. He's probably already back up to 165, 170. He's probably like, I don't want to cut weight again in the next couple months. I want to enjoy it. But if you do think, so November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, he wants to fight. He wants to wait 8 months. I get it. I do. But say the #1 contender, Sugar Sean O'Malley, is ready to go in March. And the next guy in line, in my opinion, should be Chito Vera. He just beat Dominic Cruz, beat Frankie Edgar, beat some good guys. Why not have a little interim belt, and then the winner of the interim belt fight Aljo when he's ready? Yeah.
In his last outing, Chito Vera put on a striking clinic against one of the best defensive strikers the mixed martial arts world has ever known in Dominic Cruz. Chito scored 3 knockdowns throughout the fight, with one of those leading to a stoppage victory. Would you want to watch Vera versus O'Malley? Let us know in the comments. Islam Makhachev begins to grow frustrated with the UFC brass. It seems all is not rosy between lightweight champ Islam Makhachev and the UFC. On Saturday night, Islam tweeted not only that he's up for fighting anyone anywhere in his first title defense, but also lashed out at the UFC brass. I'm not sure what UFC wants, February Australia or March Vegas. I honestly don't care about location and opponent. I never choose opponents. Just send a contract and stop playing games, tweeted Makhachev. It now seems that Volkanovski's instincts were spot on in doubting Islam's commitment to their matchup, and he wasn't the only one who expressed doubt either. Earlier this week, lightweight contender Beneil Dariush noted that the UFC may choose to avoid the matchup and instead build it up further by allowing Islam and Volkanovski to continue winning in their respective divisions. What's your take on Makhachev lashing out at the UFC? Conor McGregor has a new super heavyweight physique. UFC superstar Conor McGregor has been hitting the gym hard in anticipation of his octagon return next year. McGregor continues to enjoy life away from mixed martial arts since his doctor's stoppage loss to Dustin Poirier at UFC 264. He continues to work his way back into peak physical shape, as well as making his film debut alongside actor Jake Gyllenhaal. McGregor has teased a move to welterweight for his next UFC fight, although an exact time frame and opponent is uncertain. At present, it appears that McGregor is bulking up potentially past the point of being able to cut down to 170 pounds. In a recent tweet, McGregor reshared a photo showing his improved physique, 265 in the bank. McGregor tweeted on Friday. In addition to his beard trim, McGregor showed off massive quads and veiny arms in the image. The photo didn't exactly silence those who believe he may be using performance enhancers. McGregor isn't in the USADA testing pool and will need to return to the pool for at least 6 months before competing. This was clarified by UFC President Dana White at a recent press conference. Charles Oliveira responds to fake report about next fight. Former UFC lightweight champion Charles Oliveira has vehemently dismissed a recent report about his octagon return. After his disappointing loss versus Islam Makhachev at UFC 280, Oliveira declared that he intends to come back and eventually earn a rematch against the current lightweight champion. Some speculated he could get back in the gym and prepare for a return at UFC 283 for the UFC's next Brazil card. Mixed martial arts site MMA Uncensored created excitement regarding Oliveira's return when they attributed an alleged report from Ariel Helwani to a targeted bout with Physique. Shortly after the tweet went viral, Oliveira provided clarity regarding his next fight. "Not gonna happen," Oliveira tweeted. "I need a break. Thank you guys." To put the Oliveira-Physique fight officially to bed, Helwani denied he ever reported the matchup. "Cool fight, but I never reported this," Helwani tweeted. Speculation regarding Oliveira's next fight continues to run rampant, though fans shouldn't expect him to rush back to competition. Who do you want to see Charles Oliveira face for his UFC return? George St-Pierre expresses interest in joining Jake Paul's fighter union. UFC Hall of Famer George St-Pierre has replied to Jake Paul's open invitation to join his United Fighters Association.
It's not a question of if it should happen, a union, it's a question of when it will happen. It will happen because it happened in boxing, it happened in basketball, in hockey, in all professional sport. And in mixed martial art, unfortunately, it's a young sport. It's still a new sport. I mean, not new as it was like 20 years ago, but it's still relatively young. Sooner or later, it will happen. And a lot of people have tried to done it before, it fell. But sooner or later it will happen because, you know, the condition of the fighter, they can be improved by a lot, you know. The salary, all the assurance after their career, a lot of guys, they have a lot of issues that are, you know, like linked to brain damage and stuff like that. So I feel for a lot of these guys, you know, you only hear about the guys that make it, like the Conor McGregor, Khabib, George St-Pierre, like, who made a lot of money, and we left the sport healthy and good, but the truth is that most of the guys, 99.9% of the guys, like, it's an horror movie. It's a bad ending.
Paul began talks of creating a fighters union last year, in the middle of his back and forths online with White. Now those plans are coming to fruition. If St-Pierre joins Paul's team, discussions regarding fighter pay and other issues will ramp up, especially with St-Pierre's accolades and massive platform. Polyana Viana explains absence from OnlyFans following UFC Vegas 64 win. UFC strawweight Polyana Viana hasn't given up on OnlyFans just yet. The 30-year-old got back into her winning ways after taking just 47 seconds to demolish Jin Yu Frey at UFC Vegas 64 tonight. Viana blitzed Frey with a flurry of strikes that saw her claim her first knockout victory since 2015. Outside of her fighting skills, Viana is known to many for the regular stream of racy snaps that she posts to Instagram. And up until recently, the Brazilian was also treating her followers to a selection of even racier content via her OnlyFans page. However, in recent weeks, Viana mysteriously disappeared from the predominantly adult entertainment platform, causing many to wonder why. Speaking to the press after her victory tonight, Viana clarified that she not only hasn't quit OnlyFans, but she's also planning to speak to the platform's owner in the coming days.
Yeah, I'm going to stay 5 more days here with my manager. We're going to talk with the owner of OnlyFans, and it has everything to restart.
Did something happen that you weren't allowed on there, or what happened there?
No, it's just that I moved to Sao Paulo. I have a young son which I have to take care of. I have 2 cats, 2 dogs. I live far away from the school, so I wasn't managed to do everything.
Be honest, will you be checking out Polyana Viana's OnlyFans when it's back online? Michael Bisping responds to Nate Diaz's recent roast. Michael Bisping says he didn't mean to offend Nate Diaz with his recent prediction of how a boxing fight with Jake Paul would go. During a recent video on his YouTube channel, Bisping responded to Diaz's dig.
Nate Diaz was in the building, he got escorted out of the building, and he got into a scuffle with Jake Paul. All great promotion. So I went off on a tangent in that video, and I said perhaps Nate Diaz would lose to Jake Paul. Of course, I think I touched a nerve with old Nate Diaz. He came out on Twitter the other day. He said, I've only seen one fight this goofy fucker's ever been in, and he showed a picture of me, you know, getting knocked out against Dan Henderson. So Nate Diaz, come on mate, what's your problem? I didn't say anything bad, I didn't say anything disrespectful whatsoever.
Bisping was also linked at one point to a boxing match against Paul, but serious negotiations didn't materialize. He retired from combat sports following a loss to Kelvin Gastelum in his UFC finale. Bisping isn't the only analyst who Diaz has targeted in recent weeks. He ripped Daniel Cormier for claiming he would have been demolished by Khamzat Chimaev had the fight been kept intact. Diaz has the opportunity to prove his detractors like Bisping wrong. Once again, if the Paul fight materializes. That's all for today's video. If you want to know the latest UFC news, subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications bell, and click the like button so you don't miss any details about the upcoming fights. Thanks for watching. See you soon.